أولئك سيصيبهم سيئات ما كسبوا. The evil results of their deeds will overtake them. سيصيبهم سيئات ما كسبوا وما هم بمعجزين, and they will not be able to escape from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They will not be able to prevent Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from punishing him. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُعْجِزِينَ. They cannot make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala weak. They are the ones whom are weak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing can make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala foible. He is almighty, and He can do what He says about them. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُعْجِزِينَ. Their wealth and their money, their power, meaning nothing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا يَنْفَعُ الْجَدِّ مِنْكَ الْجَدِّ. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the power of those who has power, meaning nothing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah is the one who has all the power. وَمَا هُمْ بِمُعْجِزِينَ. Let's move on the ayah number 52. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَقْدِرُ. Didn't they know that Allah is the one who expands the provision for whom He wants? Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking us, أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا. Didn't they know? Didn't they make that ilm? This is a science, this is a ilm, this is a knowledge. We can obtain it, we can achieve it by observing our life, by reflecting on our life, by observing the others in this life. We can reach to that conclusion. Actually, we should reach to that conclusion. And therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asking, didn't they complete that knowledge? Didn't they reach to that consequence of that Allah is the one who expands the rizq liman yasha'u, for whom He wants? So we cannot claim that everyone who strive for rizq, everyone who do something in order to have wealth, he can have wealth. Can any logic person, can any sound, healthy person say this? No, we cannot say. And no one in this life can say that if somebody try to have wealth, he can have wealth, and there is a real equality, and there is a very rigid rule in this life that whoever do something achieve something. No. Already every person in this life knows the reality that there is a ruler in the background of this life. We cannot see him, and he is the one who judges a wealth for whom he wants. There is no correlation between striving for the wealth and achieving the wealth. There is no real correlation between them. When you see somebody strived and held wealth, you should look at those who strived for wealth, and they are many, and they are many. They are actually more than that one or that person, but they couldn't achieve that wealth. How can you explain? So if you want to draw a rule from the one who strived and achieved, you should look at that person who strived much more and didn't achieve that wealth. you should say, according to the second, that if you strive much more, you cannot achieve something. And they are many. They are more than the first rank. How can you explain this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَقْدِرُ. So we should notice that there is another ruler. There is something different than there should be someone behind the explicit things. Allah is the one who judges for whom He wants to give wealth. You can see some people have no intelligence, have no enough intelligence to make that money, to have that wealth. But when you look to their life, you say, how he could gather all this money? The answer is simple. Allah, the only one God, gave him. Look at his life. You can see that very simple relations in his life take him to that wealth. Who made them all? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah wants to say us that this knowledge, you are not learning it from the book. You are not learning it from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should have learned it before reading the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is already explicit in this life. It's already clear in this life that Allah is the one who gives the wealth to whom He wants. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ. He expands the provision for whom He wants. وَيَقْدِرُ, and He restricts. He strengthens for whom He wants. He is the one who expands. He is the one who restricts. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَقْدِرُ. And this is the proof that in our life, the circumstances in our life are in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We cannot change Him unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to change them. And He changed them in order to test us in this life. Because this life is not the place of reward. This life is the place of testing. In this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a free will, and we will show our choice to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to ourselves. In this life, everything is for test. So the circumstances in this life in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He changed them in order to test His His creatures, His servants. And one of them is wealth. Whenever you see a rich man, whenever you see a poor man, you should know that this is the judge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wants to test the first with wealth and the other with the poorness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ fitna. We are the one, we test you with goodness and with evil. We use both of them to test you. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. When you know that these are the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be comfortable. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take your money, you know that Allah is the one who took it, and so you will not be sad. And when you earn something, or let's say it with true way, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you wealth, you will not exalt with that wealth, and you will not be happy. You will know that this is not the consequence of your action. this is the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and now He wants to test you with the wealth. So in every moment in your life, you will understand and realize the life with its testing side, testing aspect of this life. And this is the reality. But if you deny that side, if you look for with secular eyes, secular vision to this life, you will try to gather more and more and more, and whenever you achieve something, you will claim that you had it, you deserved it, and maybe one day you will deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will say, whoever work for money, he will achieve. Whoever he has intelligence, he will achieve. Denying that Allah is the one who gives the power for work, or who gives the intelligence for His servants. In that way, at the end, you will deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completely, and began one of those who lose their life. أَوَلَمْ يَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَبْسُطُ الرِّزْقَ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَيَقْدِرُ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ. In this, there are ayats, there are signs. It's clear. When you look at the life, the one who achieved money and the one who achieved less than him, the one who gathered much more money and the one who is poor, and who strive more than the others, who provide how much he provide. When you look to them, there are clear ayats, clear signs. Inna fi dhalika la ayatin. If you look at, if you try to understand, you will achieve the result, and you will see that Allah is the one who expand the provision for whom He wants. Inna fi dhalika la ayatin liqawmin yu'minun. But who can draw that lesson? The one who wants to understand with pure intention. The one who knows that there should be a creator, created him, created the sun. The one who can see the system in this life. The one who acknowledge the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one who say that there should be a creator created this life. I'm not a simple thing, and I didn't create it myself. I believe in the one who created everything. And then you can see every ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this life. But without seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without acknowledging His creation, denying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, denying the creator, with denying the creator, you cannot achieve any truth, or you cannot see any ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it is the first and biggest ayah. It is the first and biggest reality to see and to acknowledge the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The apostles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they said, قالت لهم رسلهم أفي الله شك فاطر السماوات والأرض. Is there any dispute in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, creator of the heavens and the earth? No, there is no any dispute. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به. واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا. أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.